live from the Dunkin Latte Lounge.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Danielle DeLillo here in the Dunkin Latte Lounge. It looks a little bit different. We're not in the studio, but we are virtual. And today, I'm so excited about this guest because he literally has co-produced, co-written songs that I am literally obsessed with. I'm not going to tell you them because I'm going to have him talk about them. But please put your hands together for my new Gemini best friend, Rogét. Oh my God! Hey! I wasn't going to sing my intro song for you because I haven't really done any vocal stretching today, but.
All good. All good. You got time to rehearse. Don't worry.
So thank you so much for joining us in the Dunkin Latte Lounge. I know it looks a little weird. I'm up against one of my white walls in my apartment, and you're probably home chilling in LA, is it?
Yes, I am. I'm in Los Angeles, born and raised.
Nice.
Too.
Nice. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
I was just going to ask you, like, where are you from and how'd you get started in this industry?
Well, I was born here. I grew up in a little city called West Hills, and super small and pretty chill area. But I started playing piano when I was 7 years old. My dad.
7? Woo!
Yeah, when I was 7, my dad bought a piano for me and my little sister and he just signed us up for lessons. Didn't even say, "Hey, you guys interested in doing piano lessons?" He just kind of chose the path for us. So basically started playing piano when I was a kid. Didn't really start loving it till I was maybe towards the end of high school, which at that point I got accepted to college for classical piano. So I went to go pursue my dream to be a concert pianist. And in the midst of that, I sort of got wrapped up in just production, hip hop, pop music, just the things that made a song special and wonderful. Those that I found myself wanting to be a part of that more and more. So I started making beats. I started collaborating with people. I moved back to LA when I finished college. I actually finished college and got my bachelor's degree, and then decided to just come back to LA and see what would happen. So
Wow.
That's sort of, yeah.
Yeah, it amazes me how you went from like classical piano to writing beats and making beats for hip hop stars such as Travis Scott and Drake and Nas and my friend Max, Quinn 92, Halsey. Like, I'm like, what made you get into that area as opposed to the classical side of music?
Well, I would say that the classical side of music is still very much a part of me and what I do. You know, the foundation of where you come from when it comes to art, it always sort of, you know, your roots, I guess you could say, they sort of stick with you. So I just felt like classical music it was great for me to learn. It was great for me to improve my technique and my compositional skills. But as far as really satisfying me and what I wanted to do and make people happy, I feel like a lot of people nowadays especially don't connect very well with classical music, you know, and there's a lot of, I guess you could say, a lot of people sort of look at it as like, oh, you know, it's just like a relaxing thing or whatever. And I felt much deeper about classical music, but just music in general. And I was also sort of curious and grew a desire to re-elevate the production in the music that we hear today on the radio, you know, when it comes to artists, because I sort of started to realize music was becoming less interesting to me. Songs, there's still been plenty of great songs and great productions and great beats and all that, but I feel like the actual music in songs sort of felt like there's a decline in inspiration. Like there's not a lot of really super powerful riffs and super powerful like musical parts and chord progressions and things that are really taking songs to the next level. So I just wanted to be the producer that artists can look to when it comes to expanding their sound, when it comes to looking for something new and exciting. And I just wanted to push the boundaries of music and make it fun, make it interesting, make it cultural, and implement all the things that I grew up playing to and listening to, like classical music, jazz, film scores. Some of my favorite music in the world is movie music, and I feel like you can sort of hear and feel. Hopefully, you can hear it and feel it when you hear a lot of the songs that I've worked on. So that's sort of what drew me into it, was seeing just the possibilities that there's sort of like an open canvas when it comes to making music in this way and making songs. And I really just wanted to make things that would last a lifetime.
Well, you certainly have. I mean, you've been Grammy nominated. I mean, that must have been mind blowing. Like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah.
Tell me how it felt to get that news. Like, did you get a phone call, an email? Like, what happened?
Well, the first time I was part of a nomination was in 2017, um, for Broccoli,
Yes.
which was crazy because me and Drum had just become friends the year prior, and it's really amazing to see the work that you do with somebody who you would consider to be, a close friend, almost like family. He's like to me. So it was very, it was very special, and it's what I've been working for all my life, and when you finally, I believe I just woke up and I got all these Instagram notifications, and my manager texted me, and all these people were like, "Hey, congrats, you're nominated for your." So I freaked out and was like, "Wow, this is crazy." And then fast forward a few years later, I actually got nominated as a songwriter for Sicko Mode, which was an even bigger step because I got to walk the red carpet, and that was like, it didn't feel real. When I was there, I was just kind of standing on the red carpet and people are taking pictures of you, and it's like, wow, people really, hopefully people really care. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
And
real. Like, those beats are
yeah,
sick in that song, I'll tell you that much. Like, I was
thank
jamming
you.
out to it over here. I was like, I love it.
Nice.
I love that. I love that song so much. And
Thank you.
the
Yeah.
fact of the matter is that you were able to be at the Grammys on the red carpet. Like, that must have been like your 7-year-old self inside screaming, like, oh my gosh, thank you for that piano when I was 7 years old. I'm going to do
Right.
that. Like, thankfully you got that piano at 7 years old, and like now you're on a Grammy red carpet. Like, so
Yeah,
cool.
it's crazy. I definitely show gratitude and thank my parents, especially because my dad was the one that put me in piano. My mom took me to all my lessons, and they came to all my recitals. They really supported me even when I was trying to play in bands and coming home at 3 or 4 in the morning from the studio when I was still living in my parents' house. And they would get mad at me for coming home late, but I told them, I promise this is going to be worth it one day. But it's really a crazy feeling, and it keeps me, wanting more, wanting to come back for more. And I want to go back and put real musicians on the map, and put classical music and jazz and all the things that I love just sort of back on the forefront, and so people can really appreciate music for, for everything it is.
Yeah, I think if someone could do it, it's definitely you. I mean, the track record that you've had in the industry so far. I mean, let's talk about your recent work, what you've been doing and what's coming up next, if you can talk about it. Because I know your people sent me a whole list of credits, and I mean, like, I had to scroll for like 10 minutes, okay? So tell us a little bit about what you just released, what came out. I know it's some dope stuff, so.
Well, yeah, surprisingly, it's been quite a busy year in the midst of, everything we're going through together in the world. But oh, sorry about that.
Okay.
So this year was full of surprises, but before the pandemic sort of began, I was working a lot with Big Sean. We were doing a lot of stuff together, and his album recently came out, Detroit 2. So shout out to Big Sean and Hit Boy for letting me be a part of that amazing project. So we worked on a lot of songs together, and we're still working, when we can. Also was working with a lot of different people, working with Kaylani, working on new music with Kali Uchis. I had been working here and there with Doja Cat as well, and her team are very, very close with them. They're like family to me. So
Hmm.
a lot of different projects. Also was working with this amazing band called Drax Project. They're from New Zealand, and we had worked on an entire project sort of at the end of last year, and now had just released a single called Firefly featuring Fetty Wap, which I worked on. So that's doing pretty good. And also was working with Max, who just released his album Color Vision. That
I love it. I love it.
I had the pleasure of working on that with my one of my best friends and frequent collaborators, Imad Royal, who's an incredible producer and artist. So we worked on Max's project. There are a lot of stuff that we sort of started last year is kind of seeing the light of day now, and there's just
Hmm.
always stuff going on. I'm always making new ideas. I'm always working with newer and up and coming artists. Some of the artists that I'm working with are actually two of them are my sisters, Juliana and Andrea Chahayed, and they are incredible songwriters and singers. So we've been working for the last few years, just helping them put songs out. And
Let's get them in the Dunkin Latte Lounge.
absolutely,
Hello.
absolutely. They're no, they. I mean, I'm not just saying this because they're my sisters. We grew up together. They're a little bit younger than me, but whenever I was practicing piano, they were always, they're watching me and listening to me and sort of soaking in the information. And I
I
taught
love
them a
it.
lot about music theory and things like that. So, I'm working with them right now, and they've released a few songs on their own that are doing wonderful. I also have my own publishing company called True Sauce,
That's
and
awesome.
yeah, and I um, have been working with some new up and coming producers and songwriters and artists. So I'm trying to build the team and have a great team of people to work with and bring in on projects, because the more busy you get as a producer, the bigger the tasks are, the bigger the pressure is to get stuff done quickly. You need a team. So I'm really grateful for the people that I'm currently working with, and just trying to build that. And eventually I'd like to get into scoring movies and scoring films. That's like my all-time goal.
Wow.
So but right now I'm really enjoying just being able to work with these incredible artists. And I feel like when you work with an artist or when you work on an album or a project, you sort of are making a movie with them. When they release their body of work, it's sort of like that. So I really feel like my style sort of implements that mindset into the
It's
music.
incredible. Like, I just want to get inside your brain for a day and see what it's like. Like, I sit here and I'm so passionate about music. I grew up in a music family, and like, I would love to know what it's like to be someone like you, like a songwriter, a composer. Like, how do you create these beats? How do you create a tune? Like, I mean, yeah, I hum sometimes, but like, is that the same thing? Like, I don't know. I'm so intrigued by that. I'm so intrigued by someone like you and your talent. I mean, can you
Oh,
tell
thank
us like
you.
how you do something like, I mean, I really genuinely have no idea.
Oh,
I
thank
just
you.
really want to know.
Well, I guess when it comes to starting the process creatively, I sort of just try to find a sound or two that sparks up interest, that sort of creates inspiration for an artist. So it could be a chord progression or a really cool sound, or sort of going off the vibe that they want um, to get into. And I would say, the inspiration comes from what you absorb every day, whether it's, a movie you watch or a book that you read, or watching a show, or being inspired by a real life event, or, if you're going through a hard time with friendship, love life, family, anything and everything affects the process. And whether it's good or bad, that's the crazy thing about music, is you can translate your feelings into sound. So when it comes to that, I really just try to like you were saying, get into the mind of the artist, get into their mindset, get into their world, and bring to life the vision that they want to execute. So it could be anything. I usually like to start off and ask people what they've been listening to, what they've been going through. Like, are you good? Are you good? Is your family good? Is your love life good?
Wow.
So
like Dr. Phil stuff.
sort of,
Right?
you really kind of start to realize after a while, the process of making music and music itself is very therapeutic. And that's been some of my favorite parts about this whole thing, is getting to know people, building relationships, building trust, which is what you need, because the artist has to trust you to sort of be like, hey, like, I got this, I'll be able to handle,
Yeah.
all your feelings and put them into a song, and make the music portray properly what you're going through. So I grew up playing piano. Obviously, that's my number one instrument. It's the only instrument I play, but I do play other instruments via the keyboard. So I could pull up a guitar sound, and if you hear it, it'll sound like a guitar. I can pull up
Wow.
strings and make it sound like a real orchestra. I can pull up a saxophone and solo like if it was really a sax player doing that. And I think a lot of the education that I had helps me emulate that properly.
Right.
So, I always start at the keys. Every song that I've been a part of, that I've produced, co-produced, written, it comes from literally my fingertips and from the heart.
Wow.
So I play on every record. I play and compose all the parts on every record that you hear that I've done. So
Oh my gosh.
all the keys, all the basses, all the sounds, everything is just me actually playing it, not like, on the computer, like,
I'm blown away. I'm literally I'm blown away right now. I'm like tearing up because that is awesome. Like, to be able to do that. I mean, what you're doing in the music industry right now is just incredible. And when I was talking to Max about his new album, and he was like, Danny, he's like, you're going to love it. You're going to love the songs. You're going to love it from the beginning to the end. It's just got this vibe. And I'm like, every time, Max, you put something out, it's got a vibe, And so when he sent it to me and he was like, what do you think? I was like, I can't even breathe. I can't even breathe. It's beautiful. And you guys did an incredible job on that. And on every song that I know that you've, written and produced with, I mean, we can go through the list of artists. It's a huge list. And you should be so proud of everything that you've accomplished in the past, how many years? I don't want to date you, so I'm just saying, like, 6-7 years. I mean, I don't even know how long, but I know you've been working hard at this. And actually, wait, since you're 7, what am I saying? You've been working hard at this since you're 7 years old.
Well, yeah, I actually, it's funny you say that, and I really appreciate all the kind words, and that means a lot to me. But I didn't really love piano. I didn't really love that stuff at first. I sort of I kind of did it to make my parents, I mean, I didn't really have a choice. I was 7 years old, so I had to go to my piano lessons. You know what I mean?
You're like, Rogét, you're going to play the piano, okay?
What else am I going to do? I couldn't drive anywhere. I couldn't go hang out. I didn't know anything. So, no, I enjoyed it, but I got into skateboarding. I got into football when I was in middle school. I wanted to do more just cool boy things. I just didn't think like piano was cool, and didn't realize until later that it really just, I heard a piece of classical music by Chopin, and I was watching this movie with my dad, and I heard this Chopin piece, and I just sort of was like, I want to learn that. I want to be able to do that. And that when I was 16 years old, and that sort of sparked my love for piano. But yeah, I've been basically active in, I guess, the industry since maybe like, I'd say like 2014. So you were pretty right on the dot, like 6-7 years. And yeah, been making beats for almost 10 years, but it's just amazing to see this, pay off. But it's only the beginning. The list is growing.
It is growing.
There's a lot of projects that I can't even, out of respect for the artists I'm working with, don't want to give too much info on, but I'm super grateful and happy to be where I'm at, and I want to inspire, and I want to keep this going.
Well, you inspire me. I'm telling you right now.
Thank you.
I want to learn how to create beats now.
Yeah, well, we can do beat lessons, piano/beat lessons. So,
Really?
so
All right, that's it.
yeah, why
We're
not?
doing it.
Yeah, you
We'll
said you have a
beat
song ready to
battle.
go. Yeah, exactly, right? Versus.
Oh,
Amazing.
Rogét, thank you so much for stopping by. Before we let you go and we get into your performance, which had me, oh my gosh, in tears, because I really want to learn how to play the piano like that, okay? We're going to cut that out, but before we, because I stumbled on a word, but before we get to the music and everything, we're going to ask you about the Dunkin Latte, who you'd want to sip with, and then where people can find you on social media. So I'll intro that, and then we'll get into the songs, okay? Does that sound good? And then I'll let you go. What?
It could be anybody.
Yeah, anybody. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I think I got it.
Okay. So Rogét, before we get to your performance, there's one question that I have to ask you, and it's kind of been bothering me, so I really need to know the answer. If you could sip a Dunkin Latte with any public figure, who would it be and why?
I could sip a Dunkin Latte with anybody. It would definitely be John Williams. He is my all-time inspiration, my all-time favorite composer, and I grew up watching Star Wars, E.T., all those movies, and the music really just broadened my imagination. So if I could sit and sip some coffee with Mr. Williams and pick his brain and just thank him for everything he's done, and see if he'd like to work on a movie together, then that would be my dream.
That's awesome. It's funny. I was going to have a follow-up question and say, if there was one person that you would want to collab with, who would it be? Would it be John Williams?
Well, there's a lot of people that I would love to collab with. He's definitely up there. But I would say an artist that I would love to collab with at some point would be Frank Ocean. He's one of my favorite artists as well. And
I love Frank.
Very special, and haven't met him, but by chance he's watching, cool. Let me know.
Well, you'll have to tag him in your social posts when we push it out.
Yeah, we'll try that.
Yeah, definitely. So let's get to your performance. The first song we have you doing is a mashup of some of the biggest hits that you've done. So let's hear it.
Awesome.
And do you remember which songs? We'll cut this part out and then edit in.
Yeah,
do you remember which songs that you did in the mashup?
Yes, it is Laugh Now, Cry Later.
Right.
Bad at Love.
Yes.
Broccoli, and then Sicko Mode.
Okay, so we'll just say, so what songs are you mashing up for us today? How's that?
Yes, okay.
All right, Rogét, I want to get to your performance. I chewed your ear off a little bit too much, but tell me about this mashup that you're doing for us. What songs are you doing?
So this is a medley of some of my favorite songs that I've produced and worked on, and it's 4 songs all mashed up into one. So it starts off with Laugh Now, Cry Later by Drake featuring Lil Durk, then goes into Bad at Love by Halsey, then into Broccoli by Drum featuring Lil Yachty, and then into Travis Scott's Sicko Mode.
Love it. Let's get to it. Oh my gosh, that was so amazing. Seriously,
Thank
can
you.
you teach me the chords on that piano? Like,
Absolutely. I got you. You know I got
thank
you.
you. Now let's get into your next song. It's one that you wrote. It's an original, right? Let's
Yes.
talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, I started writing a bunch of original compositions in this last year, and one of my favorite ones is a small piece I wrote called One Way to Paris.
All right, let's check it out. Rogét, that was so awesome, beautiful. Well, I mean,
Thank you.
I'm gonna climb into your head one of these days, and I'm gonna try to just see what it's like to be you,
Do
even for
it.
5 minutes.
Sure, do it. Why not?
And then now this next song is something that I think we all know. Why don't you tell us about this last song that you're performing for us today?
Well, this is just one of my favorite songs just of all time ever. It is When You Wish Upon a Star. You probably heard it or know it from the Disney movie from Pinocchio, but it's just one of my favorites. So I come up with an arrangement that sort of displays a little bit of my interpretation on it, my virtuosity, and mixed in with one of my favorite melodies ever. So I hope you enjoy it.
All right, let's hear it. When You Wish Upon a Star. Rogét, thank you so much for joining us. These performances were amazing. Oh,
Thank you.
congratulations on all your success. And if our listeners and our viewers want to follow you, where can they follow you on social media?
They can follow me on Instagram or Twitter, which is my first and last name, at Rogét Chahayed. So ROGETCHAHAYED. So Rogét Chahayed. Follow me, Instagram, Twitter, say hey, comment, like, whatever.
Awesome. And for those of you watching, if you want to check out more performances, you can visit DunkinLatteLounge.com and follow the hashtag on social media, hashtag Dunkin Latte Lounge. Once again, I'm Danielle DeLillo from iHeartRadio with my new BFF, Rogét, and we'll see you soon.
Live from the Dunkin Latte Lounge.